All right, so are you ready?
I'm good, man. Let's roll.
You ready for my intro?
Yeah. Let's
Prepared it.
go. Okay.
It all started in 1992. His name is AJ. He's got a beard / mustache. He makes delicious coffee. He runs marathons. He roasts coffee. No, his worship people. I don't know, dude. That was terrible. That was.
You got me until you said runs marathons. I look like a horse, man. I'm trying a half.
Oh, it's
struggling. Half, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe one day if I get more mental toughness.
Man, yeah. You gotta be the man in the arena, not the chump in the arena. But well, we'll see if I edit that out or not.
Cool.
But very excited. We have AJ Davidson with us with Reverb Coffee, and they are a local coffee shop that is currently operating on Market on Madison in Dublin, Georgia, and gained a lot of traction and popularity with our community because of the delicious coffee that they offer and the different specialty styles, I guess you could say. So anyways, I'm very excited to have this conversation with him and learn more about his business, his life, and thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here today.
Nice. Well, okay, so could you give us, I guess, a bio?
Sure.
Who?
Yeah. I'll try to make this kind of sweet and to the point. So basically, people ask me all the time, especially like at the farmer's market, we're talking, because one thing that's confusing is they think we're not from here. They think we're from Alpharetta, because we'll get into this later, but that's the coffee we use. That roaster is Alpharetta. So I have to correct people and say, no, we're from Dublin. So they say, oh, you're born and raised here? I'm like, almost. So born and raised, born in Colorado Springs. Dad was in the military. We were there for a short time, moved back to Georgia. So I've basically been here my whole life. Grew up here. Dad was in ministry, so kind of ingrained in the community here. It's kind of, I don't know, when I think about my life, man, I think about anything that's good that's come from it. It's like all kind of God's grace on it and like good friends, good people I've been around. So yeah, it's born and raised here. I've never left, always kind of wanted to. And funny story, like my wife is the one who never wanted to leave. She actually left to go to school, and I stayed here. Kind of tried to figure things out. Actually worked in coffee for a little bit when we had a Starbucks in Kroger. That was all we had. So I was just there, just slinging coffee there. Yeah, man. So that's where it all started.
Heresy.
Yeah, not really. That's not where it all started. Maybe after that point. But yeah, man, born and raised in Dublin. Just lived here my whole life. And yeah, love this town. I'm growing to love it even more and proud of it.
Wow. So you're married with
3 kiddos. Yeah, man. I've got one that will be 4 in August, one that'll be 2 in August, and one that just turned like 2 months old. So life is just super chill right now.
So you're tired.
So much energy. Yes. This is why we're creating a coffee business. It's not for you guys, it's for us.
I'm so tired. It's been tough. But
It's been a hard road.
That is, I tell you what, wow. That is amazing. So
yeah.
I can't believe that you're from Dublin.
Yeah.
You don't have the Dublin vibe for sure.
Yeah, I get told a lot, like, yeah, you don't really fit the mold. I think that's part of it is like I said, always growing up. I think when I turned probably like 17 or 18, we were talking about this earlier, like went to Atlanta and really was like in the city and just became enthralled with big cities and what they have to offer. And I was like, that was way before coffee was even on my radar, but just like the life and everything that was included in it. And I was like, that stuff is that we don't have that here. I want that. So I became kind of like obsessed with that. And so I guess kind of always looking at something else. But yeah, man, there's something really special about, Dublin's a smaller town. It's growing, but it still is, I would consider us a pretty small town. And the older I get, I'm like, there's beauty in that small town,
It is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in big cities. So Tampa, Florida mainly. And then I actually lived in Atlanta for a little bit, 5 years. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Being in the country, dude, everyone's way nicer.
Yeah, for sure. Things are a little
Somewhat.
slower, but
Much slower.
but I think I guess life just gets busy the older you get, and I begin to really appreciate that.
Oh,
You know,
dude.
I still love my trips to Atlanta and we love to travel and go visit places, and it's really cool, but it's also really cool to come home, to just be home.
Well, you got 3 young kids. You're like, I want to take a nap.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not worried about going anywhere right now.
I want to relax.
Yeah.
Going, turning up or doing anything that requires extra energy
Yeah.
is like, oh, I mean, like we could, or
Yeah, or we could just stay home.
we could just not.
Exactly.
So Reverb, you guys started that how long ago?
Yeah, so Reverb, it officially started April of this year. So
Wow.
I think we had the idea early on this year, and we'll probably get into this later, but it's been a dream for a long time. But when we really began to think about what this could be, I had an idea, and that kind of got, like, I guess, roadblock happened. I was like, okay, what can we do? And I realized there was nothing at the farmers market downtown, which I thought was interesting because you would think, kind of with that being a handcrafted, hand sourced, like just very kind of local. This scene that's kind of like a local thing. I'm like, somebody's got to be doing coffee, and there was nobody doing coffee, and so I thought it was a great opportunity for us to just get in and figure out, okay, well, what would this look like in our community? What would people, what would they like? What would they ask for? What would they be interested in? So yeah, we started April of this year, and it's been great, man. Saturdays have been awesome, getting to know people, getting to talk to people, and just getting to serve some really awesome coffee to people, and they're loving it.
Well, and the coffee's great.
Yeah, some of my favorite coffee. Like, I've had a lot of coffee throughout the years. I just want this to be known. I've drank probably more than what's healthy for most people. I've had a lot of coffee. This is some of the best.
Yeah. I feel you on that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's honestly, I mean, I never really, I don't know, I don't want to sound like this. I never really went to the farmer's market, like ever.
Oh, me either.
Yeah.
I've never been before we went.
Yeah, I just didn't really have a reason, like,
Sure.
for me personally, like,
Yeah.
I don't really, I'm sure there's a lot of great things that you could get there that I was unaware of, but
Yeah.
nothing really was like, oh, dang, we should go try that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what Reverb has brought to the market for certain people.
Yeah, like there's still some people that, they're there to pick up their veggies and stuff, and like I'm all for it. I think it's great to have that. It's been really interesting for me to see people that I know they may have other jobs, but they're really like they're putting their heart and soul into this this vegetable or whatever it is, this thing they're growing with their hands, and that's really cool for me to see. I'm kind of like amazed by that whole process of the process of something growing and then getting it into people's homes. So it was interesting though, because before we signed up, I was kind of going into it blind. I'd never seen it before, so I didn't even know what it would look like. I'm like, let's go to the farmer's market, but what does it look like? Like, what is it gonna be? And it's actually been a lot different than what was in my mind. So that was kind of cool.
Man, well, and I'm sure it felt risky in the sense of like, hope this goes good.
Yeah.
Hope it don't set up and.
Felt risky, but it also felt safe in a lot of ways. Like, okay, because the investment was much lower than, well, let's just go try and open a shop. Mm-hmm. Like that's risky. It's like, well, how do you, so this has been good for us in a way because, yeah, there's a small investment and a lot of hustle and grind. Like that's what's been shocking to me is just, because we pack everything in my pilot. So everything if you've seen our pop-up, and if not, you should come by on Saturdays. Like, we have multiple tables out. I mean, it's not even just, I think originally we planned, like, let's just do some pour-overs and some drip, and now it's like, it's almost like a coffee shop pop-up. Like, it's really grown quickly. And so we pack all of that in my pilot, and that starts on, like, Thursday. It's like, so the grind is there, and, yeah, so it's kind of been... I think what I was trying to say was it's been interesting, though, because just seeing people come and they're actually really interested. I think that was a scary thing. Is like, are people even going to want this? Mm-hmm. Are they even going to want, especially with it being Georgia, it's hot. It's especially hot now. It's like, but, people want it. They're like, it's Saturday morning, I want my coffee. Mm-hmm. So they, it's there for them.
Well, yeah, it definitely attracted me and my wife and our kids. It gave us like for me personally, a reason to check out the farmer's market in that regard. Because like you said, it's really cool to see the other people doing their thing, whether
Yeah.
it's vegetables or like some of the cool like I think it's handmade soap or
Yeah, there's some candles, some soaps.
yeah, just different stuff that's local, which is
Yeah.
really cool to
Yeah.
see, as opposed to all these evil chains.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that I tell you what, the coffee is great, and you get it. It's roasted in Alpharetta. Is that
Yeah, so just to give a little love to these guys, Valor Coffee is who we have partnered with, and I have a little history with them. So one of the guys I've known for a few years, just we weren't like best friends or anything, but just known him. He worked at a shop that I would go to when I was in Atlanta, and I was aware of these guys, and it's kind of cool. They started in a really similar way. One of the reasons that I feel kind of connected to them is because they started as a pop-up as well. They started with like a mobile espresso cart. And they would do events and weddings and things, and then they got an actual space at like a co-working space, and now they have their cafe and they're working on a second cafe, and they've grown into a full roastery and stuff. So they've kind of like pioneered the way, I feel like in a lot of ways kind of pioneered that way of like, they're not the only ones. I mean, a coffee pop-up is sort of a popular idea, especially now. But so I know there were others doing it, but in the state of Georgia and even I feel like in the Southeast, they were kind of, I guess, some of the OGs that really like not just did it, but actually did it and it was successful and they did it really well. And they were roasting while they were doing this pop-up. So it wasn't just like, let's get beans from someone else. It was like, let's learn how to roast too. So we use Valor, and they're just they're some of the kindest people. And there's no, I don't know if your listeners are going to be like, into coffee, or if they have visited a lot of shops, but sometimes there can be just a level of pretentiousness when it comes to coffee.
don't even get me started.
You want this pre-ground. You don't have a grinder at your house. We're not going to do that for you. You need to go and buy this $130 grinder,
Yeah.
and then you can enjoy the coffee.
Better be a burr grinder.
Right, it's got to be a blade grinder. No way. So it's this idea that's just like, and I get it. I understand the thought process behind it. I don't think it's the best way to go about running a business. But so I say all that to say the people at Valor have just been so good to us. I mean, when I had this idea, I contacted him. I think I sent Riley, one of the owners, an Instagram message. He's like, hopped on a Zoom call the next day.
Oh, wow.
We talked for like 2 hours, and he's like, this is totally doable. Let's figure out how we want to do it, how you want to do it, and how we can help you. And so yeah, man, they're super kind to me. Their coffee is so good. I kind of keep their coffee on hand. So even during the week, somebody hits me up. They're like, hey, I need bags. I'm like, well, we can get bags for you.
Yeah. It's me.
Yeah.
I'd be hitting them up.
It's for you, John.
I'm sure other people, but yeah, that's the pretentiousness that I've experienced at other shops.
Yeah.
One of my biggest pet peeves.
Sure.
I always feel like I'm saying that wrong.
No, I think that's the right way to say it.
Pet peeves.
Pet peeves.
I cannot stand when you go in there and they're like, what are you even wearing?
Yes.
Look at this.
It's not even raw denim.
Oh my God. Did you buy those pants from Gap, you freaking loser?
Yeah.
I bet he listens to pop radio.
It's real, man.
It's very just unfriendly and like, I'm cooler than you and you're not artsy enough.
Well, and it doesn't help people. So like if you're in a shop and I think this idea and this mindset, this maybe way of this attitude, if you will, it's somewhat dying out because people are realizing it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me to show up at the farmer's market and to look down upon somebody who's asking me about the product we're selling. Like if they have enough courage to walk up to you to say, tell me about this coffee, it does me no good and them no good for me to be a jerk. Mm-hmm. I have an opportunity to really to educate them and say, hey man, this is like, if you like this, you may have this coffee you drink at your house. That's great. If you like that's fine. Now, this might be a little bit higher price tag, but if you try this and you like it, I'm telling you, even if I pre-grind it and you take it home, your coffee game is going to be well above what it was. And you're going to be drinking more local stuff than you were. It's fresh and it's delicious, so it does no one good to be rude or unkind. I think that attitude's kind of gone because, or at least leaving because people realize it doesn't work, so.
Thank God.
Yes.
Well, and like once you have fresh roasted coffee, it's
It's a game changer. Man.
it is. It is such a, like, my wife and she didn't have much experience with coffee before meeting me. Like, she just only had like the usual, like Dunkin' or maybe
Yeah.
like Starbucks or
What's accessible?
yeah,
It's there. Yeah.
pretty much, and especially in this particular area. But I roasted and still roast some of my own beans, and I made her some, and like, once you have that quality of coffee,
It's hard to go back.
it is.
It's really hard to go
And when
back.
you have to, by some unfortunate mistake or something, you ever been traveling and you forget something, you have to drink coffee because if you don't have caffeine, you like inwardly implode.
For sure.
It's so devastating because
Yeah.
it's like, this is horrible.
Yeah.
And it is so different, like the quality of coffee and just the experience of,
Yeah.
of like drinking it and partaking in it, I guess you could say. Like, my wife is basically a coffee snob now,
Yeah.
and it's awesome.
And it's easy to get there because I think whenever you see, this is in kind of the specialty coffee realm. So there's like regular kind of, it's like mass produced this, what you can buy on the shelves at the grocery store, and that's fine. Like, if you like that and that's your jam, that's great. But then there's this specialty product it's roasted a little lighter, like everything, like the notes, you actually taste what's on what they say you're going to taste. And man, I have firsthand now experienced it. Somebody comes, they order a pour over, or even a drip for that matter, and they taste it and they're just like, whoa, like that's really different. And then what's really amazing is seeing somebody order like a drip and they're like, leave me some room for cream and sugar. And then they, doctor it up, which is cool. We're all for that. We're like, we just want you to enjoy it.
You don't scoff at them?
I'm just like, man, you paid money for this. I want you to enjoy this. Like, this is better than probably what you had at your house. So we'll start here. And then they sip it before because they're like, well, I want to like respect it and, give it a taste. And they're like, huh, I don't really need anything. And it's kind of been interesting to see that whole evolution happen right before my eyes. So that's been really fun.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. It's funny because I was gonna. Who is it? Casey, I believe. She used to cut my hair.
Yeah, yeah.
She was telling me, and I think it was 2019, maybe 2020. She's like, "You need to meet AJ. You guys should do like something with coffee together." I was like,
Yeah.
because I was looking for something else to do work-wise. I don't want to
Sure.
say, I just maybe more so like looking for a career path or whatever. And coffee has always been special to me.
Yeah.
I think it is not only delicious and great, but it can kind of create the right coffee shop and the right, I guess, company per se, or the culture you create could produce a great environment for people
Absolutely.
where it's like conversational
Yeah.
or welcoming, and it's a place where maybe local artists can have a area or somewhere to show their talents, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I need to meet AJ.
Yeah.
I went and I think I Facebook stalked you. Maybe Instagram stalked you like in
Okay.
2020.
I'm just now finding out about this. So this is you guys are finding out at the same time I
Wow.
am. This is amazing.
I saw the stash in the glasses, and I was like, I think I
Gotta
like
do
this
it.
guy.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, it's been cool to see the evolution of it for sure with Reverb, because it was exciting to hear about.
Yeah.
And especially from like a coffee snob end.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, I think for us, what's been interesting, and I've had a lot of people tell me that, so thank you for saying that, because it's in no way are we doing anything that's never been done. I think what we're doing and what we're trying to do is make this more accessible. So where in a place like Atlanta, like I think about there's an area of Atlanta that we like to go visit, and in a 5 block radius, there's probably 3 or 4 cafes. It's like you just decide which one you want to go to that day, or you maybe have your neighborhood shop. And if something's wrong there, you can go to 3 other shops in a 2-mile radius. Here, it's not like that. Like if you live in Dublin, you know that we have a Starbucks and then the kiosk and Kroger, and we have a Dunkin', and those are fine. Like those are quick. If you want something quick or you want something sweet, like those answer that question for you. But to have that local, that place where you can actually go sit and feel like you belong, and also get a really good cup of coffee, like that just hasn't existed in a very long time. So one of our kind of core values is hospitality, is creating that place to where, and we're kind of able to do it, but not in the way we want to do it right now, just because we're kind of getting started, and it's limiting at the farmers market in a way, just because there's not a bunch of seats out there. You're not in a coffee shop, but we're at least introducing people to the idea of, listen, this is something different, and that's been amazing to see. Like we're actually seeing what we want to see happen. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's been really cool to observe, because when I heard, first of all, the name's cool, but I also play guitar, so I was like,
Sure,
oh,
you
that's
get it.
dope. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. So what's up with the name? Why'd you go Reverb?
Oh man, I wish there was some like big story behind that. So to kind of track back a little bit, coffee is something that I've been into for quite a while, and so the idea of having a shop or some kind of coffee business has been a cool idea. And I've always, there was a name, this isn't copyrighted, so maybe if you're wanting to open a coffee, a shop or something, you could steal this and it would be totally cool. But for a long time, I just, I loved like common threads. I was like, common threads coffee. That's cool, because coffee is like a common thread that brings people together. And, but then I don't know, I thought, man, if we have a place one day, like if this actually opens when we start and we have a place, I don't want it to be like a mouthful to say. Do you want to go down to Common Threads Coffee? Like that just sounded like a lot. I was like, I really just want like do you want to go down to one word? So we have a downtown restaurant here called Company Supply. And many of the times in our house, we just call it company. Like when I say company, people know what I'm talking about. And we're just like, you want to go to company? And they're like, yeah. So I love the idea of just having like, do you want to go to Reverb? Like it was just a one word. And so I think with me being a musician, and kind of like that's a lot of my origin story and like what I'm interested in. And I'm a fanatic for like reverb. Like I have a friend that's a musician and it drives him up the wall how much I love it, because he's like, you use too much of it. You could use too much of it. So, but I love it. I love all the shoegazy stuff and like, let's make it spacey. And so I just thought, man, reverb, like something that reverberates, like keeps going. And I'm like, this whole coffee thing, like we could just like, it could be a thing that just people talk about. And so, not to make it too much like it had a real meaning, because at the end of the day, like I just thought, it's kind of cool. It also brings a connection between coffee and the music side for me. I just think it's kind of like that's kind of a cool name. So there's a story there.
Wow.
That's it.
Well, hey, no, that's good. That's good. When you started talking about more reverb, I thought of that meme with the guy from Star Wars. What is it? It's like, he's like the new Darth Vader. I can't remember his name.
You talking about like Kylo Ren?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where have you seen the thing where it's like, more?
Yes. Yeah.
More.
Yeah. That's like what I am with my
More.
RV6. I'm just like cranking it up. Yeah. I love it.
That's great. So now you're an associate pastor at
Yeah.
Dublin Bible Church?
Yeah. So actually, I've been on staff at a church here locally, Dublin Bible Church, I wish I could tell you the exact time. I always get a little fuzzy here. It's been, so I've been there for right about 10 to 11 years. Started as a guitar player, just kind of came in as somebody who was visiting the church, and then when I got plugged in, got in the band, started playing, and our worship leader had resigned and went to a new church, and so they kind of offered me the position, to kind of fill in, and that actually grew into, it was kind of like a volunteer role, and then it was a part-time role, and then they brought me on in 2017, if I'm correct, as the associate pastor. So I would still be leading worship, but then handling some administrative things. The job I had previously, I did a lot of administrative work and kind of like a lot of organizational things. So anyways, I kind of came on as associate pastor. So I still lead worship, pretty much weekly at this point. And love that church. Love the people there. They've been good to our family, and it's a great place.
Dang. 10 or 11 years?
Yeah, it's like, something like that. So my wife and I were still dating when I went, when I started attending. So yeah, it's about 10 years. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I tell you what, that, what is it? The room with all the equipment.
Yeah, our storage room.
Dude, the store, hold on, let me just, that's a terrible slow clap, but it was amazing. Like, As far as the organization of it,
I was so scared to open that door. I was like, what is he about to see? Because I just didn't know. Sometimes it's really put together, and other times it's not.
well, it was for, I feel like creative people or musicians, like we talked about that one time I was there, sometimes administrative tasks, organizational tasks
Yeah.
are like pulling teeth.
Oh, it can be a struggle. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So usually it's like, just throw it in there, let's
Yeah.
go. And I walked in and it was like, oh.
Yeah, I like to be able to, the way I think about the reason I do this is not just because I do like for things to be cleanly and for them to, look nice, but also, God forbid, I'm not there one day or something happens to me and somebody else has to find something. It's like I want them to be able to find it quickly, not be digging around in boxes and bins and where's the cable we need?
Yeah. Where's our cable?
Yeah,
Service starts at 5
exactly.
seconds.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What are we going to do? AJ's not here. It's like AJ should make it helpful for everyone else to.
Yeah.
I have the power to do that, so I should do it.
Well, that's great. That's
Yeah.
a great way to look at it for sure. So that is a good bit of responsibility. So you're married, 3 kids, all under 4,
Yeah, all
4
under
and
4.
under?
Yeah,
and basically launching a coffee company.
yeah, yeah.
So how you sleeping?
Man, I'll be honest. We've talked about this recently because I think we have a shared passion for this. But one thing I want to do this year is just make some healthier changes. So I've been running a lot, going to the gym. So most days, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to, I'm pretty tired at the end of the day. I mean, it still may be 10:30, 11 before I'm in bed and kind of powering down. But man, I'm trying to build healthy habits to where, and even with Reverb, as it grows and as we see more things happen with it, my first responsibility and job as a man is to be a good husband and a good dad. And Reverb and everything else comes after that. So I want to have healthy habits for me and for my family, and model that for them. So I just don't think it's the best step for me to ruin my body with overworking, or like there's a time and place for that hustle, right? I mean, we're in it. It's like, Friday and Saturdays is grinding. You're putting things together and you're making this thing happen. But after that, like, your kids need the dad around, and your wife needs her husband around. So learning that balance of, all right, how do we do this well is not an easy task. And I'm not saying I'm doing it well or the best every day, but it is something I strive to do. So yeah, I feel like I have a general, there are days where it's just like, your boy could use a nap right now. And then there are days it's just like, all right, you're in a hustle phase and this isn't forever. This is for now. It's a season thing. So a friend of mine, a good mentor, and he, just really dear friend. He ran a 50K last year. I remember him telling me that, he just needed something to do. He just needed a project, something to work on. I think as men, and if you're a husband, dad, just a dude, listen to this, maybe you can relate to this. Like sometimes men just need projects. They just need something to do with their hands, do with their bodies. It's not good for us to sit idle for too long. So I think it's good to have a goal, but it's also a good rule of thumb to know when to turn that off. To say like, okay, you worked on your project today. And so it's like when I got into running a year or two ago, there was a day where I got really overzealous and like I kept going, and it was like I was like Forrest Gump or something. I could just keep going. I hit 8 miles and I felt great. Could have just kept going. I mean, I probably could have ran another 8. But I realized, I looked at my clock, my watch, and I was like, I got to do some stuff today. I can't just like keep working on this thing I want to do. I want to be a runner, right? I want to be good at this, but I'm also needed elsewhere. I'm needed in other places. And so I think figuring out that word balance, I have a love-hate relationship with it because I'm not sure if it's always attainable. But I think if we can get a pulse on that and figure out a good rhythm, with things that we're interested in. So for us, growing Reverb, that's obviously a dream, right? But it's also not at the cost of my family or my own mental health or sanity, So I think it's just finding a good rhythm with things.
Yeah, it's difficult. The rhythm is, I feel like, a challenge if you have that drive per se.
Yeah, definitely.
It's hard to just stop,
Yeah.
Because at least that's for me personally. I struggle in that area. But with your home and where you guys live, obviously it's here in Lawrence County, but are you running like all over Dublin?
I have a route that I usually run. Right now, my mileage is still pretty low. Like with this race I'm training for, it's still pretty low. So I'm figuring out this new route to run. So yeah, I'm only, I think the longest I've ran the last few days is like 6 miles, which isn't that far. So a couple of loops in our area. We live in a neighborhood, so I can kind of do a couple loops, and I've got this other path that I run, but. Yeah, the other day I tried to run to a meeting I had to be at on a Thursday night and had to call a buddy to come get me. So, you got to come pick me up. I'm not going to make it. And then I called him back. I was like, no, come further. Come further this way. I'm not going to make it.
Wait. So you tried to jog to a meeting?
Oh, yeah. I was like, I'll just run there. I missed my run that morning. I was like, all right. I think it was that whole sort of you got to do this, buddy. You got to run it. And it was like, I'll just run to the meeting. Who cares if I'm stinky and sweaty? Well, everyone in the meeting cares. That's true. I'm like, I could tell they were all just kind of like leaning away. Smell terrible, man. So, yeah.
That's funny. You had to call them and pick you up.
Yeah.
I get it though, man.
Yeah.
When you judge something as a little closer than you thought,
yeah,
it's devastating.
Oh yeah. I was
is.
a little defeated. I'm not gonna lie. Like I thought I could do this.
What a shot to the pride,
Yep.
too.
It's okay though. We learn best from our failures.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm glad he came and got you.
He did.
And he wasn't like,
Yeah.
finish
You
it.
got to finish it, bud.
You want to be a man? You got to get it done.
No, he was a good friend. He's a great friend. So he came and got me.
Yeah. Dang. So you're training for a half marathon.
Yeah.
You got Reverb Coffee on Saturdays.
Yes.
So when you guys, with Reverb on Saturdays, you guys open up just whenever the market opens, right when it opens?
Yeah, so we normally roll in about 6:15, 6:20 and kind of get things up and going. It's pretty, wake up, alarm goes off about 5:30, like time to get up, time to get moving. So Friday nights we try and, keep pretty chill after we pack and everything. So yeah, we roll in, get set up, market opens at 7:30 and we're there till 12:30. It ends at 12:30. So yeah, it's a pretty full day because after that, pack everything back up and get home and then wash everything up and store it away. And so it makes for a quite a long day. So
yeah. Well, and it's you and you have one other person working with you and your wife?
yeah, no. So Ashley, my wife, we work together a pretty decent amount, but we've when we started, there were 4 of us, and there's still 4 of us on the team per se. It's me, Ashley, and then my mom helps. She loves it. It's so fun to have her on the team. And yeah, and if she's not helping with Reverb, she's helping watch kids. So it's like whatever
Shout out,
way.
Mom.
I just want to give a shout out to this. Like if you have grandparents nearby, count yourself blessed because we also have a lot of friends that are not from here but live here and they don't have family. And I'll just be honest, if my parents and Ashley's parents were not available to help or maybe didn't want to, this would be a really hard thing for us to do. So we've only been able to do it because, I know a little bit about coffee and we have some really helpful family nearby that want to help us. So it's Ash, my mom, and then a really good buddy of mine, Nick. He helps a good bit. So, but now we're at a point to where we figured out the rhythm and what we need on a Saturday. So it's normally just me and one other. So I'm kind of rotating them off. And so yeah, that's kind of the team. Pretty small team right now.
Dang, Mom coming in clutch.
She is coming in clutch, and she loves it. It's so funny to hear her hear her try and talk to people about the coffee, and she loves pour overs. So she doesn't doctor them up at all. She tells them, she's like, you don't even need cream and sugar in this. And so I kind of tell her, it's so funny to see her evolution of, man, this is really good, and I love it. So love her. She's great.
Yeah, she took my order last time I was out
Probably
there.
so,
And she
yeah.
was very nice.
Yeah,
Kind.
Yeah, she's just. When I started this, man, it's been full support from basically everyone. I mean, there hasn't been anybody that's just tried to talk us out of it or say, I really think you need to think about this again. It's just people are how can I help you? How can we help you get this going?
Did you experience anybody when you first started AJ? I don't know, man.
Man, to be honest, maybe, but I think for the most part, because of the way we started, it's really been a lot of support, and I think people realize that Dublin is growing, and just as a community, like, we're ready for this. I think timing is really important. And let's say we try to do this 8 years ago, which is when I wanted to do this. I originally had a plan for this in 2015, and man, I was not ready by any stretch of the imagination. Like, this would not have went off well. And back then, if I would have told somebody that, they should have grabbed me by the shoulder and said, "Hey, let's think about this. Let's really let's really figure out why you want to do this and how we can do it better." But now I think people see we're ready as a community. I am more prepared for this as a person, and I actually am not super pretentious about it now. When back in 2015, that would have been a bad move for me. I'd been like, "You will drink this black, you will taste the berries, and you will love it." So I think there's been some growth, but yeah, man, not a lot of just tons of support, man. And I have people that come every week that they're just like, when you have a place, I will support you. Like, I will come, and so that makes me feel really happy.
Yeah. So what do you think prepared you to for where you are now?
It's a great question. I'll say this: I've had a lot of ideas. I was thinking about this the other day. I feel like in many ways I've always kind of had this. I don't even want to really call myself an entrepreneur because I don't feel like I fit in that box. But I've had lots of ideas and lots of things I've been interested in. I'm kind of a guy who, when I learn something or get, interested in something, I get fixated on it. And so, man, I've it happened with coffee years ago. I just started buying bags and figuring out different ways to brew them at home, and got the Chemex and the whole pour over thing was just like everyone that came in, I'm like, you have to try this, And so I got really interested in that. Like I said, we almost pursued a shop in 2015, met with a roaster in Savannah and had a real deal conversation. Like, it was like, we're doing this. Just never got serious about it, And I've also have this eye and passion for design and art and things. And so I do some branding and design on the side. There have been a lot of things that AJ has started and yet not finished very well. And so I think when that happens, it's a good indication that it's maybe a really good idea, but it may not be your passion. And, when because here's the thing, not everything you start is going to be easy, right? So some things you start, like I said, there's a lot of hustle involved. There's a lot of, resistance. And if that first kind of line of resistance can get you off course or make you, second guess, do I need to be, maybe that's not the thing for you. Because if you really, I believe this, if you really are passionate about something, you're not going to just take no for an answer. You're going to find another way around it. You're going to figure out a way to make this happen. If it's what you're supposed to do and it's something you're really passionate about, and you may have to rethink what it looks like. We've had to do this with Reverb, but I think for me, man, this is something I'm passionate about, and it's not so much just about coffee. It's because I see a hole in our area, in our city, and we're trying to fill this the best way we know how, and kind of answer that question the way we know how to do it. So yeah, I think to get to your original question, it's because it's a real passion for me, and I think it's something I feel like we're supposed to do.
It's been a process, sounds like.
For sure.
Because that is, I would imagine that would be challenging in the sense of you get your hopes up in 2015, you go and meet with a roaster, and it's kind of like getting in that excitement of the launch where you're like, yes, we're about to do this.
Yeah, and all that whole time, 2015 and on, and it's so funny because as we've kind of grown this to where it is now, and hopefully as it continues to grow, there have been some days to where I've doubted, man, is this, because I look at the demand that it does have on me. When you have a product that people want, that creates this kind of urgency in you of I got to answer that, I got to get that to them. So there have been some days to where I've really kind of questioned, is this the right thing for us? And my wife is so wise, and she's really encouraged me and reminded me of, man, everything you've done has kind of led you up to this point. Every all that coffee you were buying and just tasting, we're starting to see that wasn't just for my enjoyment. That was me learning about coffee, and it was me learning, all right, this is how you do things, this is how you not do things, and even at that point in 2015, a meeting with someone, and I quickly realized, like, after I began having conversations of what it looks like to really have a place, and I realized I'm not cut out for this right now. And yeah, so it was a big wake up call for me. And I thought, honestly, I mean, I'll be real for a minute. Like, it was a dream in me that just went dormant for a long time. And so this year was a big year for our family and even our church. So back in November, like I said, I'm associate pastor. Our previous lead pastor, we're great friends and good buddies, and worked together for a long time. So he resigned in January. And I remember when that happened, me thinking, what does this mean for me? Not that I'm going to leave the church because he's not here or anything like that, but you're going to be getting a new pastor. What does that look like? How you got to learn how to work with someone else. And I remember telling our previous pastor, again, a great friend of mine, so I could be honest with him. But I remember when I met him, he was like a dreamer. He had vision. He was a dreamer. And, with COVID and everything that happened, with not just with churches, but people in general, it really affected, I believe, church leaders and people that like had a lot of pressure on them to do things the right way. And somewhere in that time frame, those dreams began to stop. They began to slow down, and I began to see less dreaming and more kind of just burnout. And I remember telling him whenever he left, and I actually kind of designed a little sign for his office because he took a church in Illinois. And I was just really honest with him one day. Again, I think you can be honest with your friends. I'm not saying you need to be this honest with somebody else, but I just told him, I said, I hate to see you go. Like, it pains me to see you go, but it is time for you to dream again. It's time for you to dream again. And the church that you're going to needs you to dream again. They don't need the burned out version. They need the version of you that's going to breathe life into them. And I said that to him, and then a few weeks later, it hit me. It was like I was having these moments of like, well, what about me? Like, what does this mean for me? Everything I know is now changing. And then it hit me. It's like, this is kind of for me to start dreaming again. And so all of these things, these little moments that really they were significant for sure, but they didn't make sense. Now it's like, okay, it's time to dream again. So that dream back in 2015 of doing coffee, it didn't die. I just thought it would never happen. It was just dormant. I just needed to have the right things happen, and needed to grow and mature a little bit in my own self, and realize, man, it's time for me to dream again. And so that's what this is, man. It's a way for me to hopefully, my hope would be to have a healthier dream of what was originally kind of planted in 2015. And so that's, long story, but that's some real things that happened in me.
Oh, it was great. It was great because it is difficult. Life has a way of squishing or squeezing the dreams out of you sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether it's just trauma, betrayal, or even just personal failure, personal bad choices, whatever. And it's almost like a natural, I don't know, drifting into meaningless work, or maybe not meaningless work, but maybe redundant work for you that doesn't give you a sense of life. And it's very easy to get lost in that and get caught up in the busyness of being a dad, being a husband. You just got to work, and then sometimes taking on something new can be a little daunting just because you're already like, I have no time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's no, well, how am I going to fit anything else into my schedule now?
Exactly.
I got to like plan hanging out with my friends like a month in advance.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's been cool to see that dream come alive though.
Yeah.
With Reverb, because it has blessed my family for sure. And I know a bunch of other people, and hopefully in the future, if you guys get a brick and mortar or when that happens, I'm sure it'll be a great environment for people.
Yeah, that's the hope, man. That is the hope.
And so the future of Reverb, I guess, is a great way to end. I know we can't go too into the future and details, but how's that looking?
Man, I would just say this, man, for Dublin, like we have dreams and we have goals, and our heart is to see those things come to life. We want to do it well. I'm a big believer if you're going to do something, man, it may never be perfect, but it needs to be done with excellence, and strive for that, And I just want to say this: our heart for Reverb is really to, like I said earlier, to create a place of hospitality. We want to educate people. Like that's a great thing to do, you know, to teach people about what coffee can be, and but also to serve a quality product. Like we will never skimp on quality and making anyone and everyone feel welcome. So man, I would just say for what it looks like in the future is really this. I'd just say stay connected with us. You know, we're on social media. We don't have a website just yet. I can't believe we don't, but we don't. I build websites and we don't even have one yet. So yeah, it's coming though. So just stay connected with us. We're on Facebook, Instagram. We try and keep everybody updated. So yeah, stay connected with us, and there's gonna be some good things in the future. We're excited about it.
Nice. Yeah, man. Well, I'm excited for it. It'll be sweet to see what takes place.
Yeah.
You know, and it's unacceptable. There's no website.
Yeah, I know. I got to get to work on it.
I didn't know you build websites.
Yeah, I kind of tinker with them.
I need to hit you up. But yeah, man, that's great. I appreciate you sitting down. The last question, and it might be the most important. What is your favorite scene from The Office?
Oh man, there's so many. All right, give me a second.
As you think, I'll explain. The Office is a wonderful TV show where it's a mixture of comedy and awesomeness with some incredible people, and it created like this cult-like following. And we love The Office.
Oh yeah. So this is gonna be not the typical scene, but it's my favorite not just because it is a sweet scene on the show, but it's because one night my wife and I were watching it, and I believe she was pregnant when we were watching it. So this could be the cause of this, but I just look over and she is just bawling, and so she could not stop, and so I had to rewind it, and it just went like literally I laughed for 30 minutes at the show, but at her too. So it was just I love it because she talks about it all the time. But at the end, I think maybe the last episode, and they all come back from Florida, and Phyllis like holds up the little bird that Stanley makes her, and she just like, how could a little grump, how could a grump make something so precious as this? And so I look over, and Ashley is just losing it. And so every time I see that, I just think of her, and it just makes me, I'm not happy she was crying, but it was just hilarious that this show is making you react this way. So I love that, and obviously, man, I love all of the. You could if you've never seen this, like it's worth the watch. Like just sit down and start it, and if you make through season one, like season one's a little rough sometimes, but just get to season two, it'd be great. But yeah, man, the whole Jim Dwight going back and forth, and there's just so many great things about that show, man. It's so good.
I did not expect that.
Yeah, it's not the typical. It's just the first thing that came to mind. I'm trying to think of something else. Oh, I also love like when Andy is at the little garden party he threw.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to play the song with his dad, and like his dad loves his brother more than him, and he gets so mad, and like that whole scene is hilarious. I don't know, there could be something there with me. Who knows? But it's the idea that it's just like, man, he's always just trying to like impress his dad through everyone. Yeah. These are probably the lamest scenes in The Office to even talk about. But
it's okay, man.
But yeah,
it's all the Phyllis thing is hilarious.
Yes.
How could someone so grumpy?
Yeah.
Your wife's like, oh my god.
She just was losing it, and I thought, I'm like, really over this? But she, again, she was like super pregnant, so hormones,
well,
love her.
Dang, man, that's great.
Yeah.
Well. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Everybody go check out Reverb Saturdays.
Yeah.
What
Love
time?
to have you.
No.
7:30 to 12:30.
7:30 to 12:30.
And if you need bags, hit us up because we can get you some bags, and it's delicious. If you have questions, hit me up.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.